Hello and welcome back to HRD Live, where I'm joined by Trudie Adcock of Astrazeneca. Trudie, how are you doing?
Hi, really good, thank you. Very
Fantastic.
good.
You've just come fresh off stage, right? For
Yes,
your session.
I have.
How was it?
Brilliant. Really great to see the engagement and conversation with what I was talking about. I have a slightly different approach to my philosophy behind learning, which is perhaps less traditional. So it was really just great to get some warm, positive feedback and real interest around my hypothesis, I guess.
Yeah. So what were you sharing with the audiences then? What was it about for people who aren't lucky enough to be here in person?
Yeah. So my main hypothesis around how you build a capability in an organisation that's experiencing rapid growth is that you have to pay as much, if not more, attention to the approach of the learning as you do with the content.
Right.
So taking things right the way back to design thinking and design thinking principles, and as well thinking about how you engage people and how you're going to engage people with the learning. And I think the real game-changing element there is the notion of keeping things simple, working on things that people can habitually do that are not too different from their day job, so that it feels relevant to the world that they're in and the challenges that they're experiencing, and how they can access the learning almost as a byproduct of just doing their day-to-day job, but you're tagging on the learning through habits, through nudges, through behavioural science.
That's fascinating, and it's so true as well. Instead of learning being this separate thing, which you kind of, there's that idea that you have to commit so much time to it, and kind of it's a separate thing. Okay, I've got to do the learning stuff now. But how do you then make that part of your day to day? How do you make it part of what you want to do in your workplace?
It's really interesting, and it's not easy because I guess we've traditionally been brought up in a world where you go on a program and it's very episodic, and you kind of go on a program to be a great leader, and 4 days program you get your certificate, and guess what? You're perhaps not the great leader yet, but intellectually you get the content, but how can you apply it to the day job? So my whole philosophy behind it is that you have to tap into where someone is right now, the problems that they face, the challenges that they have either in their role, the business they're in, the teams that they lead, ask them questions around the legacy that they want to leave during this massive period of growth, and then kind of almost to flip the question around the other way and say, okay, so what maybe do you need to learn that's going to help you with those things that you've already identified for yourself, as opposed to me coming to you saying, you're about to take on this leadership role, here's the program and all the things that I think that you need to learn about.
Wow, okay. So, there's so much to unpack there, and sadly we don't have hours to discuss it. But if you could give to the people watching at home one tip, maybe, for an HR leader or a business leader who wants to get that started, who wants to make this change, but hasn't the faintest idea of where to get started, what would be that top tip to get that going in your brain? Yeah,
so it's really interesting that you mentioned the word time. When I talked, I spoke about some of the data behind my approach, in that there is this perception of I don't have the time in my day job to spend on development. It's almost seen as a luxury, and if I need to do X, Y and Z in my job, that actually trumps the development time if I have a choice to make.
Right.
And so tackling this notion of time head on, right up front in your design thinking, is going to be the thing that gives you the most value and impact later on, and how you can position the learning as time working on your job as opposed to time perceiving to be out of your job doing learning. So how you can weave that in right at the beginning, I think, would be my best top tip.
Wonderful. It's a pretty good one. Thank you so much, Trudie, for joining us on HRD Live. I appreciate it. Stay tuned, everyone, for more very soon.